Then we will see how the propagation happens. Noise or vibration both can be propagated. Means the transmission, basically it is transmission, how it can be transmitted. In this picture you can see that first any picture, general picture, suppose if you just, this is the source, hand is my source, and if just push this one plate, it is the transmission, how the transmission of the um, energy or power transmission goes, and how it is impacted at the final receiver, or it can be response, how it can be, how it is final object is responding for the initial source. We will see here. If you come to this anything like here mechanical, it can be mechanical as well as aerodynamic. Mechanical thing can start vibrating first, and it can go through a structural and it starts vibrating and human can hear. For example, like any suppose engine starts vibrating, it goes through BIW and it is felt at the human at the seats, or it can be felt at the your brake pedal or those things. Or a mechanical excitation can also create acoustic activity. It can be cross-linked like this. Acoustic activity, sometimes like a mechanical part starts vibrating and it creates noise. See, vibration is also transferred. Also, it transfers the acoustic thing. And noise also it is created. Then the noise, sometimes it creates the, suppose if your dashboard is vibrating, it is due to engine. If your dashboard is vibrating, it is creating acoustic activity, noise also, and it is vibrating also. That is an example for the, and you can see the dashboard is vibrating as well as it's producing some noise. This is the one thing. And similarly, that aerodynamic, see, noise can also create transfer through acoustic activity, and it is transferred to human person. Or that aerodynamic activity can be transferred to a structural thing, and then it transfers to a structural vibration to human. This is the different combinations which will be available in industries, because when we go further, we will see transfer path analysis. This is the major thing for that. And here the next one is, this is an example I have given, the motor, and where human feels the vibration as well as noise from the fan. This is the first thing is noise and vibration at the source, and multiplied with the transmission path is equal to receiver. What we say means noise or vibration generated at the source. Transmission is nothing but we call it as a system transfer, and it is finally received at the receiver. Then the structure borne noise, normally what you see here at the top, structure borne noise or will be the at the lower frequency compared to the aerodynamics thing. Next, we will see what is the time and frequency. It is here in this graph, you can see that engine has run up from 1000 RPM to 3500 RPM. And this is a noise graph. How the like you see and seen in a stress curve, it is, this is also represents how the noise. It is from 0 to 500 hertz. See, when you see at this 2700 RPM to 3200 RPM, you can see a lot of noise which is generated at this region at 80 decibels. This is the noise which is generated. This is the normally graph we get usually. Yeah. And coming to this, this graph is response. Response means it can be like displacement, velocity, acceleration with respect to frequency. This graph represents the structure borne noise. You can see the global stiffness. Global stiffness is important in structure borne noise, and local stiffness and damping is very important. Local stiffness means at the mounting position or at the connecting points, how the stiffness is there, how it is connected, all those things is local stiffness. And damping, how the like when you see that suspension system, how the damping is provided. This creates structure borne noise as well as airborne noise. And airborne noise is usually dominated by absorption, mass, and sealing. This is the usually graph that. And this is the time and frequency relationship. See, here there are different amplitudes of graphs. You can see that this graph is having different amplitude, and this is having different amplitude, and this one also. All these four graphs are having different amplitude, but it's the frequency which is with respect to time. It is having different frequencies. This is at 5 hertz, and this is at 15, and this is at 25 and 14 hertz. This is with respect to time and frequency. How the if you see from here, it is having different frequency. If you see from here, it is having different amplitudes. This is the time and frequency relationship, and this is the graph where usually we see how the that this is the input curve, and this is the another sound noise curve, where the phase shift, with the help of phase shift, we can noise will disappear, usual thing. Then we'll see how to reduce the noise or vibration. Initially, the structure-borne noise can be reduced by using damping or isolation, usually non-automobile. Airborne noise can be reduced by using barriers or absorbers or sealants, which are produced in the placed in the vehicle. Best thing is to reduce vibration noise. Best thing is to reduce at the source only. But it's not always possible, because engine is vibrating. You cannot completely reduce that vibrations or engine piston oscillation, all those things. That's why we use different method techniques to reduce, like damping and oscillation. Then next technique is to isolate from its other structures. Suppose if your engine is vibrating, then you have to put some sealants or damping things there to isolate from BIW structure. This can be done, and try to modify the path. As I told earlier, like there will be different. You can modify that paths and reduce the NVH, and you can reduce using the barriers as well as absorbers also. Basically, what we do is here, by changing mass, stiffness, and damping. Or by changing all these parameters, we can reduce the noise or vibration in a vehicle. This is a formula for the first order spring mass damper system, where the low frequency is dominated by stiffness control, and the resonance is controlled by damping control. Means by varying the damping, you can reduce the resonance, and with the high frequency, if the high frequency vibrations are there, you can change it by reducing the mass. This graphs also indicates the same thing. Then again, it's reducing the techniques, or other depends on the suspension is the one of the thing which excites from the road, whatever the vibrations are coming. Suspension is a very critical thing, where the vibrations transmit, because it is located at structure bone transmission path between the road and tire. Engine vibrations can also be reduced by changing the combustion parameters. This is also one of the technique used in industries, by changing the, but it's not feasible, because sometimes cylinder pressure, inertia parameters of the piston mass also can be varied to vary the vibration levels. And carpeting techniques, on the floor, they will put different carpetings and foam paddings they will do with rubbers and all those things. That will also reduce the interior noise, vehicle interior noise. These are the different techniques available in the to reduce the noise. Then we see case study. You can see that this is the gearbox cover, where here there is no ribs, and in the second case there are ribs provided for the same thing to reduce the noise. We'll see in the results how this is a left side picture is experimental setup they have put up, how they have put microphone and all those things, experimental setup, and this is the actually plot we got as we saw earlier, and this is the graph, means shows how the at overall engine this noise is plotted. This is the first one is amplitude data. Here we can see that from amplitude of 15.4, it has reduced to 9.4. That means there is a reduction of 39.85% in amplitude of vibrations by putting this rib. This is all goods for 1000. They have done that. They have checked for X, Y, as well as Z. It is checked for 1800 RPM as well as 3000 RPM. Noise data. Next, noise data with putting additional rib, you can reduce the noise also. So you can see that overall, if you see, there is a reduction from 93 to 89. By doing all this, like stiffener additions, all those things, you can reduce the amplitude as well as different noise. Then coming to NVH, suppose if you encounter a problem, first what we have to do is, first we have to analyze the vibration levels, how much vibrating it is, and then we have to see the noise levels also. And next we have to, it's like called a qualitative analysis. Here the assessment, we have to check for the how it is impacting that vibration and noise, how it is impacting the human. Then we have to see where that noise and vibrations are coming, identify the which frequencies, because when we extract the frequency, it can be like from 0 hertz to 1000 hertz. Which frequencies are contributing, we have to see. Then we have to see which parts, means it can be, because it can be any part in the automobile which is contributing to noise or thing. We have to see which part is contributing analysis for this problem. Then we have to see whether it is a source problem or it is a transfer problem. Then we have to locate where the source is. We have to locate these things. Then further is we have to process of noise transmission. How the noise is transmitted, we have to see. This is the like, and next we have to see what is the influence of the structure itself. Means how the structure is getting affected. We have to see. That is engineering analysis, and whatever the modification, further modification, and build the model. Further, we will build the model for the stimulation. And next, this is the flow path. See, any NVH analysis can be done using a numerical method as well as experimental method. First, we will see the experimental method. Here in experimental method, should have a test bed, and you should have a microphone. It will be connected to a microphone, and earlier you saw on picture, it is like that. And you have to have a R50 analyzer, different torsional vibrational sensors, and accelerometer, and all those things set up you have to should have, and it is very costly also, and computer has to process the data, and we will get the results. Usually it is noise as well as natural frequency, and mode shapes we will get from the experimental method. When you come for the numerical method, as you all know, it is first generating a CAD model, then a FE model, then we'll set up the model for NVH analysis, where we will check for the model analysis, frequency response analysis, harmonic transfer path analysis, tire and noise analysis, noise simulations. And we will see the results. We will get the final results, and we can, after seeing results, we can do the design modifications. If the problem is there, you can do the design modification, and you can go back to your CAD model and do further iterations. And this NVH analysis using FEA will generate lot of data. You can here what happens is, like, wherever you place accelerometer and microphone, you will get only the results in experimental. But in FEA, you will get at each FEA. When you build a FEA model, you can get whatever the results you want, and whatever that with respect to time, you can get whatever the values, and with respect to frequency also, with the different excitations, you can excite it, and you can see how the result. It will generate lot of data, and you can analyze. Finally, the things is comparison with the numerical data as well as experimental data, and it should slightly correlate with them, and we have to submit a report. Then suppose if you encounter a problem, first you will see this is the graph. See, usually when you do any NVH analysis, it is usually output is in terms of graph, or it is velocity, or it is acceleration, or it is displacement. Something it will be usually graph only. It will be compared with the target line. This blue color line is the target line. Suppose if you have if you are having a response which is having above your target, you have to fix it. Then how to fix it? We have to see the further steps. Then first what we have to do is how which component is moving. There can be, you consider automobile, there can be different components which because when you extract 1,000 modes, you can see different components are moving. You have to see first which components are moving uh, thing. Then we have to see which modes. There can be different modes. Which mode is contributing for this response? We have to see. It can be first two modes, or it can be 35th mode. Like that, we have to check with which mode. Then we have to see which panel. Which panel? It can be like side, roof, or bottom. All those things. Like in this case, for this noise, you can see that rear is contributing the most for the thing. Next is how much energy is transmitted through each points. You have tactile points we call, and at that location, how the energy is transferring. You have to see. Then further is which paths. As I told earlier, like there can be different paths out there. We have to see that how the we have to analyze how which path is contributing the most. Then we have to see the power flow, how the energy or power is transmitted through the full entire structure. Then we have to do sensitivity analysis. Design sensitivity is nothing but like suppose if you change some parameter, how that parameter is affecting your response. Means how much sensitive is that parameter. Like it can be any parameter within your vehicle. How if you change that parameter, how the response is uh, behaving, you have to see. Then what finally we have to see what if studies. What if that is nothing but like if you change some, you cannot use all these techniques to solve a problem. It can be like which or it can be you can use this mode, or you can use design sensitivity, or you can use TPA. Using all these things, like you have to further we have to see that what if you change this parameter, how the response is behaving, we have to see. Then we'll see the analysis activities in the industries. First, all the analysis activities done in this is an important slide. We'll see thing. Here we can see that it can be done on a BAW structure, or it can be done on a subframe or chassis, all those things, or it can be done individually on the steering system, or it can be done on this seats, closure, exhaust, trim body, and all the full. It can be compared with the whole full vehicle. Also, it can be seen. Then what are the analysis we do in the NVH in industries? First is normal mode analysis, where we see the frequencies and mode shape. Then frequency response analysis, we'll see the where how the frequency is, if you excite at a particular frequency, how the system is responding. A random frequency response analysis, where the road excitation, all those things we check with random excitation. And point mobility. Point mobility is nothing but the dynamic stiffness. It is nothing but checking the stiffness at a particular point. And acoustic transfer function, how the noise is transferring, we have to see that analysis can be done. Acoustic analysis. And vibration transfer function, vibration is also can be checked. And brake noise analysis, this is also important thing, brake noise analysis. So it's a big department for that. And torsional vibrations also can also be checked. In cab noise and tactile vibrations, all these analyses are done in a NVH industry. Then, as you know, all diagnostics should be done, because once you find a problem, you have to fix the problem. The problem fixing methods are like model contributions. We'll see in detail how this model and panel, some of this we'll see. Uh, these are the different techniques like model participation, how the each part is behaving, how each panel is behaving, all those things. Critical path analysis. This is a TPA, very important in the energy distribution analysis, optimization. You can do optimization also, and design sensitivity and order analysis. All those things are available in the NVH tool actually. This is available in Altair HaptiWorks that we will see. The first one is modal analysis. In this world, every component will be vibrating at its own frequency after providing initial displacement. That is called the natural frequency of a component. And the pattern is called mode shape. What we usually call is, that is how the displacement pattern is happening, is that is called mode shape, or is eigenvector we call it as. This is the natural frequency. Then coming to the, it is the, as I told, like every component will be vibrating. It is the basic characteristics of the any object to have a natural frequency and mode shape. Not only for automobile component or any component in this world will be having natural frequency and mode shape. This modal analysis shows how the different components or structure is under the different dynamic loading conditions. We will see. This is the main intention of the modal analysis, to extract that natural frequency and how the mode shape. And this is the case study. That means a result of an automobile roof with the free analysis. Free is nothing but, first we will not fix the model, and we will see for only the first 6 rigid modes. You can see that it's no first 6 modes are not there, because all the it is having 6 degrees of freedom. So first 6 it will be free. You will get 0 values. Here it is analyzed for with and without stiffener. First thing is, first you can see that 7th mode, which it is at 55 hertz, and it is reduced to 59 by with the stiffener. And this is the experimental results. Like this here also, modal analysis here also. It will, here by fixing the model, we will fix the model and we will run the analysis. Here the first mode, you can see it is at 91 hertz, and with the stiffener it has increased to 218. It is almost more than double with the stiffener for the automobile roof. This is a simple case study result. And further we will see what is the frequency response analysis. In frequency response analysis, it is used to investigate how the structure responds, how your structure is responding to be being vibrated at a different excitation frequency. Suppose if you have a natural frequency at 58 hertz and you excite at 55 hertz, and how your structure is behaving, you have to see. This is the basic thing in the natural frequency analysis. See, this is the response curve. You have response curve, and you are exciting at a different thing, which is having some phase shift. Then you have to see how this response, this green color curve is behaving. That is the frequency response analysis. It is usually, as it is shown in the picture, it is usually sinusoidal input or a steady state response, known as frequency response analysis. What frequency response analysis gives is, usually what output we see is how the what are the resonant frequency. Suppose if you excite at 55 hertz, you may not get a resonance. Suppose if you excite at 58 hertz, you may get a resonance. That means we will see what are the resonance frequencies in the full vehicle, and how the damping and mode shape of the structure also we will see. The exciting frequencies can be like your engine, transmission, propeller, or road excitations can also be there. Major thing is like the natural frequency of the system should not coincide with your excitation frequency, because then at that time resonance will occur. Natural frequency is a very important for a designer or analyst, because you should design for the lowest natural frequency available. The much higher frequency other than frequency, or because excitations will be at the higher frequencies. Excitation is at each frequency, each natural frequency. Response is also at same frequency. Sometimes if we excite at a particular natural frequency, and we will see the response at also at the same frequency, how the displacement, velocity, and acceleration is responding. With if you give phase shift, it will, as I showed the earlier graph, it is like that. When vehicle is moving and the roughness of the road constantly keep the exciting. Suppose you are moving on a rough road and it is exciting. The suspensions to a suspension system through tires. Usually the excitation goes through suspension systems and tires. The frequency at which it is excited is directly proportional to the vehicle velocity, and it is inversely proportional to how much distance between the two excitation. That is the thing, the frequency.